Ridiculous.
Ridiculous, but I bet it was for a significant amount of money.
Still ridiculous.
Yeah, but fun. I'd watch it. Look, Jake Paul wants to test himself against actual, not just world champion, but one of the greatest of all time.
Really fought, and it wasn't fixed. Jake Paul would not survive 45 seconds.
I don't know about that. I think it would take a few rounds.
Really?
But yeah. First of all, Jake is a lot bigger. Jake's a lot bigger.
But what weight would they fight?
Well, it's not about the number. If it was about the number, we could have started up. I would have tell you, I'm not just interested. It makes no sense for me. It's not my what I'm looking at right now.
Joe Rogan was amazed when news broke that Jake Paul offered Francis Ngannou a chance to become his next rival after the abrupt cancellation of the Gervonta Davis fight. Speaking on his podcast, Rogan called the matchup wild and nearly irresponsible for the content creator turned professional boxer. Ngannou, once UFC heavyweight champion and now a rising boxing threat, holds a reputation as one of the hardest punchers ever in combat sports history. Rogan questioned if Jake Paul truly grasps the danger ahead, given Ngannou's size, strength, and knockout power. Even so, despite the risk, Rogan admitted this, if the fight happens, it could become one of the biggest events the fighting world has ever witnessed in recent combat history.
Francis knows that, and Nikista calls Francis. This is Francis telling the story. Nikista calls Francis and says, hey, we need your help. We need an opponent for Jake. Tank is out. And Francis says, all right. And Francis says, well, how can I help you? And Nikista says, well, we're looking at an opponent for Jake. Tank Davis is out. And Francis says, all right, but specifically, how can I help you? Nikista takes a third swing at the bat. He says, well, we need an opponent. We need a boxer. We need a partner. We need somebody to fight Jake. Tank is out. And Francis asks him again, okay, what specifically can I do?
After Jake Paul's fight with Gervonta Davis fell apart due to legal claims tied to Davis, Paul and his team started hunting for a new opponent. Among the options mentioned, one name stood above the rest, Francis Ngannou. The former UFC heavyweight champion has entered the boxing world, catching attention with his knockout power, massive build, and worldwide fan support. His surge in boxing has turned him into one of the most intimidating figures in combat sports, and a showdown against Jake Paul would shake the sport completely. With Ngannou's size, striking force, and mainstream status, the question remains, is this a daring choice by Jake Paul, or the greatest gamble of his career?
Tank Davis saga, I think the fight is going to be completely canceled and rescheduled, and now we have potential opponent names and some people being ruled out coming into today. This is not a joke. It was said by Mike Coppinger and others that the #1 candidate to replace Tank Davis in a Jake Paul fight, probably on a different date, was going to be Francis Ngannou. What the But we have an update on that and other potential names that Jake could fight. Again, I think on a separate date, and why I think the Jake and Tank fight is completely off. No more, maybe, no more, we don't think it'll happen. I think it's completely off.